When I'm watching Minecraft content, creators love to use resource packs, not texture packs, to modify the game to their liking and prank friends. The problem, they don't know how resource packs work, so it takes them ages to do simple things like changing the anvil sound to metal pipe. That's why I'm here, to teach you pretty much everything about resource packs in a single video. To start, we're going to be changing textures, which, well, as you can see, pretty much the main thing that you can see in Minecraft. Like, textures literally everywhere. Texture, everything is a texture. I don't know why I need to go into so much detail about everything is a texture, but yeah, we're going to be doing textures first. So to start, we're going to need to create a resource pack. So basically, you can either have resource packs in a zip format or in folder format. Folder is much easier to edit, whereas zip is good for transferring to other people. So let's just call this Steve Locks. Something pretty simple. So we're going to need a few things inside of this for it to actually work. First of all, we're going to need a file called pack.png meta, which basically tells Minecraft this is a resource pack. Let's go and create a new text document and call it pack.png meta. Yes, sir, I do want to change it. So hopefully it opens up in VSCode. Nice. All right, so for the most part of the video, most things I'm going to be doing that's text-based is going to be done through VSCode's generator, which basically is a very easy way to go and generate these sort of things. So for the pack.png meta, so pack format, basically what version of the game you're using. A good way to do this is, actually I don't have much of a good way, but it doesn't really matter either way. So description, so supported formats, this is basically to just increase the different versions that it will say, this is too new for Minecraft, or this is too old. So we can do something like object, so we can do 1 all the way to 99, basically meaning shush. Basically meaning this is gonna work in any version of Minecraft. And this up here is also important. You need to make sure that you have it on the version that you want to use it on. For pretty much the entirety of Minecraft, pack.png metas have remained the same, so there's no need to do anything there. So this is pretty much the entire thing. So we can copy that and paste it into our pack.png meta. Great. So the next thing we need is we need another folder, and we're going to call that assets, which is basically going to contain all of your files. All right, inside assets, if we're going to change Minecraft's default textures, we can create a namespace called Minecraft. So right beside this here, I have basically the entirety of Minecraft's assets. So icons, don't really know what these are for. I really don't know anymore. But we have Minecraft here, and this is where all of Minecraft's files are. So inside Minecraft, we can create a folder called textures. So in Minecraft, there's a ton of things that you can modify. So I do recommend having Minecraft's files right beside you here. So you can do this by either going to VSCode's GitHub, which contains literally every single file and other things in Minecraft that are really, really useful. Alternatively, you can go to your versions folder, choose your version, which in my case is 1.21.4. Copy and paste this jar, convert it to a zip, and unpackage it. Now this would take ages, so I really don't want to do it, but you get the idea. So let's say to fool our friend, we want to make this golden apple look like raw mutton. So that's going to be a very simple change, and we can do this just through renaming the texture. So let's go and do that. So of course to change this, we're going to need to find the raw mutton item texture. So we can go to inside of textures, we can find item, and yeah, just every single item. I don't actually think they're contained here, so we can just search up raw mutton somewhere. Ah, found it, mutton. Yep, that looks about right. Let's go and take that and put it into the items folder of our textures. So you need to make sure that these folder names are the same. Let's go and paste this in. And the name of the texture that we have here is just golden apple. So let's go and rename that. And that is our first change. So as you can see, we have this is a pack. So let's go and open this up. And you can see here that our golden apple now looks like raw mutton. Yeah, that was about it for stuff like that. Now there's of course a lot more things you can do with changing textures. For example, you could make it look like a really, really fancy thing. So imagine this, but like a cool 2D pixel art sword or something. That's pretty nifty. Something else I've seen happen quite often to people is that they name their textures wrong. So you can't have capital letters, and you also can't have stuff like spaces. So make sure that you have an all lowercase and underscores instead of spaces, or I think dashes also work. So next we have animating. So you can animate textures. Let me find a good example. Oh, here's a good example. So inside the water here, you can see that the kelp is moving like that. So you can see, let me find the kelp. Actually, no, it's going to be in blocks. And you can see right here that this is what the file looks like. It's layered with every frame. No. With every frame on top of each other, like this. And Minecraft can only recognize this as an animated texture if you have the .mc meta associated with it. And basically, this tells it, hey, this is an animation, but you can also determine how fast the frame rate is. So let me go and copy this real quick. So let's go and take this kelpplant.png.mc meta. So it's going to be the exact same name as a regular texture, but you add .mc meta at the end. So let's say we want to change this to something closer to 1. This either speeds it up or slows it down. I don't really know. I think it speeds it up. So I currently have it set to 20 instead of 2, which means it should go... Yeah, that is significantly slower. Yeah, that's how animated textures work, and in general, they are pretty simple to get working. Now, you can also have different settings, like you can also turn on interpolation, which means you'll gradually shift between the textures instead of just instantaneous like that. So an example of this is Prismarine, which says interpolate true. Now also, you can choose which frames play in which order. So for example, Prismarine, it has 4 different animation frames, and it definitely does not go to 0, 1, 2, 3, and then reset. No, it definitely does something very different. Let's go back into our kelp plant, and let's go and just speed it up again. And this time, I want to go and do interpolate through. Did I spell that right? Okay, there we go. So that should make it appear very weird if I did it right. So I believe if I slow it down, oh yeah. The thing is, it has issues with transparency changes, so it just turns black instead of becoming transparent, so that's what you can see happening here. So that's about it for textures, and really, they are very easy to change. Very straightforward, in fact. Next, what we're going to be changing is text and lang. Basically, text is what can appear on the splash screen of Minecraft. So it can be just all the things that you can see on the title screen right up here. Verlet integration. So if I were to search Verlet, yep, there's Verlet integration. Yeah, there's quite a lot. 446. Holy, that's a lot. So you can also have the post credits, the game credits, which is not really like the end, is when you literally just go somewhere. Yeah, credits. And then it goes and runs through all the names. So these are pretty easy to change, as they're just .txt files where you just go and write them like normal. And now with lang, that basically determines what the name of everything in the game is. So, for example, the language that I'm using right now is... Where's lang? Okay, found it. We're using US English. So that's going to be NUS. So opening that up, there is going to be a lot of stuff, and it can be very threatening, because there's 7,000 lines here. But Control F is your best friend, so search. So let's go and, for example, change single player to by yourself, or something weird. Yep, menu.singleplayer. So this is basically a key, which means if you call something like in the code, like menu.singleplayer, it's going to translate and show this instead. I'll just call this by yourself. Just something interesting like that. And you can see that now it says by yourself, unhappy face. So this can help to further increase the immersion that something like a golden apple may be raw mutton. So let me go and put that texture back. And then inside of lang, we can go and find the item, golden apple. So basically things, how they work here is that they're kind of titled based on quote unquote folder setup. So if I look for item, Okay, item groups, item.modifier. Okay, I found it. So it's item.minecraft. And then the item name. So if we're looking for something like golden apple, it's going to be two things, of course, because there's enchanted golden apple and regular golden apple. So we can rename this to raw mutton. So now, if I reload the resource pack, it's still going to be a golden apple, but it says raw mutton. You even have to search for raw mutton. This is the regular one. This is the golden apple. And you can't actually search for golden apple anymore. We don't talk about that one, but you can see that the regular golden apple is just not here anymore. So that's a cool thing about Lang, and that also means that it won't have like the italics of anvils. Alternatively, you can also create your own Lang things. So let's just go and create one down here. This is a Lang thingy. And let's just do random text. Great. So how we can use this is we can go and do something like a title. We can go and use this in game. So it's going to go and say this, which is what it looks like if you don't have the resource pack. But if you reload the resource pack, you can see that now changes to what we typed as the translation key. So that's a pretty cool thing. Alright, so next on our list is sounds, which is basically, at this point, the most popular thing that people love to do. Because Mojang is so kind, they don't actually give us access to the sound files. So what we need to do is go through a really complicated process, which I can show you right now, actually. So we need to find assets, indexes, and we need to find probably the most recent one, which I'm guessing is 19. So you can see here that there is a crap load of stuff. So I just copy and paste it where VSCode automatically reformatted it, so it's much easier to read. And you can see now that we have the names of stuff. Do a Minecraft /down, so if we're looking for cloth 3 for a step sound, this is the hash. So now we can go inside of objects. Sure, item frame. We're going to learn how to get the item frame file. Let's find 5.5. Alright, 5.5. And it is the rest of this. So 353. Nope, that's an error. 55353. And that seems to be the only one. So we can go and take this and let's just go, I guess, somewhere else outside of objects. And we paste this in and we rename this to, okay, .ogg. And now we have access to the sound file. So here's the item frame sound. Now, of course, this is a convoluted task which nobody wants to do, and that's why this exact same misodes thing has the sounds right here. Every single sound is right at your fingertips. Alright, so now we have metal pipe sounds. We're going to be changing the anvil sound. So, of course, we want to have this as .ogg, which is the only format that Minecraft sounds accept, by the way. Let's just go and delete the extra white noise. Or blank noise, and now let's find it. Because of course it is. It is not in blocks, but it's instead in random. Oh, yeah, wow, imagine that. So we have anvil land, so that is what we're going to be using. Something important real quick before I export this is stereo versus mono audio. So this is stereo audio, which means different tracks play in both your ears, and this is important in Minecraft because regular music plays in stereo, which means no matter where you look, there's no direction to it, and it does not fade away. Whereas mono is what every audio is. Let me go and open this up, and you can see that one audio track, two audio tracks. So I don't want to save this, so we want to convert this. Now, using Audacity, this is extremely simple, so we can select the entire thing. We don't actually need to do that, probably. Tracks, mix stereo down to mono. So now we have the sound, and I probably want to turn this down to not hurt my ears. Okay, so it's now a bit quieter. Now let's export. And channels, you can also change it here instead of doing the fancy mix stereo down to mono. You can just do mono right here. Entire project, and we want to call this Anvil Land. Alright, now we can export. And now that we have that, let's go and create a new folder. Sounds, random, and it's going to just be inside there. And we are all set. Now, I got this inspiration from when Smitty was doing this, which it literally took him apparently 3 hours to do this simple change, and I did it in a matter of like, what, 2 minutes? So that is really how simple these things are, and now... Wonderful. That's exactly how you change sounds, and I hate it. If you want to add your own custom sounds, you can go and open this sounds.json, and this basically goes and tells Minecraft that, yes, this is the location, and this is a new sound. So, this is what a single sound would look like. You, of course, need these brackets because it's a JSON, and this is what it is. You first have the name of the sound. This is how you're going to be calling using something like /playSounds. Funny sound dot metal pipe. So now we need to add a few extra details. So I have absolutely no clue what name is. Sorry, that's the only one I have a clue what name is. We have stream and volume. I don't care about either. All I care about is name. So we're going to do Minecraft :random / anvil land. Is that what's called? Pretty sure that's what it's called. So we don't actually need this anymore because we already used it as a reference. This really does not do too much unless you're like a funny map maker. Whereas now I can do Minecraft funny sound dot metal pipe as a play sound. So rest of play sound, unable to play, empty sound event. Huh, imagine that. Oh, that's how you would add a custom sound anyway. So on to models, which I can do a few things with this. So first of all, let's go and make it so that the enchanted golden apple does not look like enchanted raw mutton. So, because golden apple and enchanted golden apple use the same texture, we can't do it that way. So we need to go within models, item, and this is now the model, which is in .json format. So let's say we go to cherry boat, which is just the 2D texture. This is all that there is for the model. So everything that is a simple, oh my gosh, everything that's just a simple 2D item, like for example this here door, that is basically what it is. Let's go and find enchanted golden apple. And you can see here that it goes and uses this golden apple thing here. You know, in hindsight, I'm actually realizing I probably don't want to change this, but I want to change the regular golden apple. Let's just go and find regular golden apple. Copy this. Models. Item. And let's paste it in. So, to change the file, this is basically where it's looking for a texture. Let's follow along. So Minecraft, textures of course, item, and then it's looking for golden apple, which is right here. So we want to change the name, and now we just got to change the name here. Change the name, and let's go and grab a regular one, and also I forgot which one it was for a sec. So now the enchanted golden apple is normal, and the regular golden apple is now different, and it's using that different texture that we have called change the name. Now, of course, if you want to use a different texture location, so maybe like, despite everything, you may want to just put it in block, if you're a weirdo. We can go and paste it in here, and we just got to change it to block. Make sure that you have the folder names right at all times. Now, even in Blockbench models, this texture thing is always at the top, so that's where you're gonna look. Now we've changed it to block and also changed the texture location. It is still raw mutton. Alright, so next let's say we want to create our own custom model. Now of course I'm not going to go through a tutorial on how to make a custom model, but I am going to make a very simple one to just show an example. So let's just go and make this funny thing here, give it a texture, and this is just going to be the texture. So when we save it, so since this is the texture.png, we want to put this in textures. Now this is probably going to be an item, so may as well just put in item. Let's save that. And now it's also going to save the model. So let's say we want to go and change Spruce Store to look different. Now it's probably just going to be the same as normal, but you can also check just in case in this here to determine what Spruce Store is called. So we have here Spruce Store, so that's what we're going to call it. And let's save that. So Spruce Store has both an item model and a block model. So we're just going to start with an item model, since pretty straightforward. And there you go. We now have a spruce door that looks like this weird looking cube. Alright, so changing block models is the same process, except for the fact that there's a lot more. So this is the acacia door. This is how many different models there are for the acacia door alone. So it's definitely a bit harder to change all these. So I'm just going to open these real quick inside of... I was kind of hoping that these would not open in Blockbench. So you can also have parent for block models, or just models in general, which basically means it's taking that, but it's also going to modify things like textures. So let's go and find door bottom right open. Inside of door bottom right open, it's of course going to be the element, which is the cube. And you can see here, textures, we have just hashtag bottom. So you can see here that the texture is linking to just hashtag bottom, which is used right here. So we have acacia door bottom, acacia door top. I don't actually know why top is not here, but you get the idea. Now there is an issue if you're going to change the block model of something, and I'm going to go and show that right now. So using this, that's not a full cube. Let's go and create a new folder, of course, called block for block models. Let's go and paste it in, and let's call this dirt block. Pretty sure it's right? Oh no, it's just dirt. Okay. Dirt. Alright, so now this is going to change a whole bunch of things in the world, probably decrease my frames. And you can see there's a bit of a transparency issue. Now, this is the thing, right? If there are full blocks like this, they have an optimization where any texture on the side of blocks that should not be visible are just rendered as completely invisible. So this is also how X-ray works in a way. It can change the model of things like diamonds to make them something like this, where you can go and see them all the way through different things. This is how you do that. I probably shouldn't have taught that, but there's not really much of a fix to this, unfortunately. So yeah, the only fix that really you could do is use something like glass that does not go and make the textures beneath it. Like this grass block would normally be invisible if I were to use something like dirt. And with this glass, it does not. So if I were to change this dirt, it's going to cause significantly less issues and it's going to look a lot better. Let's go and grab some glass. And there you go. Now there's no problem with the block underneath becoming invisible. So just keep that in mind if you're changing the model of full blocks. Of course, in 1.21.4, item models have been completely revamped so that there's a new folder called items. I don't like it, but it seems like it could be really useful. So something like bone block going to be extremely straightforward, where it's just going to be like model. That's it. Where something like compass, which of course has all those different textures for directions, is going to be a bit different. I really don't understand how these work, but a good way for you to understand it is by either going through the change logs or looking through methods generator, which also has a good way to generate these. So you can see that, yeah, there's a lot for the compass. Future Steve here, going back in about different custom models, for example, this spruce door. You can see it's going for items/textures. So let's go over certain issues that could potentially happen. Okay, there we go. So if you have this issue with a custom model, this can mean one thing. The .json model, there is an error. So I just removed the R here, and that will fix the issue here. So next, another issue with a model is that you have the model, the shape exists, but it's still the purple and black. Now this means that the model is found, but the texture isn't. So currently this model is looking for item/texture without an E. So inside here, it's going to be within textures, item, and we're looking for texture without an E, which is not here. We have texture with an E, so if you remove the E, that means it's going to be successfully able to find it, and there's your problem solved. Now you have a actual texture on your model. All right, next we're going to go and cover fonts, which is probably something that you're not likely going to need, but it is good to know. So of course for this, I plan on using methods generator to create the font file for me. So we can either do things like bitmap, true type, space, unihex, or reference. Now the only ones I ever care about is bitmap. Let's go file, Minecraft. Textures is already included, so let's go to font/block/sand.png. I'm pretty sure you need to include .png for this one. Let's go and make the height 6%. I normally do around half. Servicing characters. So since it's a 16 by 16 thing, we're just going to do 4 by 4 for an experiment. Let's create 4. So, okay, cool. We have that set up. I don't want size because that's not a thing. And now let's go and make a file for that. Now, something like this should work. That's really all you do since you already have the PNG set up. Just random text like that and font. We're going to do Minecraft :sand. Oh yeah, it's now just a bunch of sand textures. So basically how this works, given that the sand texture is 16 by 16, on each line, we used 4 characters and there's 4 lines. That means we're splitting this texture up into 16 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And basically, with those characters that we're using, that is what we're changing. Alright, so I basically went and typed out every single individual one, so you can now see that, yeah, it's 16 different characters using all those different sand textures. So that is fonts in a nutshell. Alright, so next we have Blockstates, which is best to show in game with something like stairs or fences. So given that something like a stair or a fence has so many models, like just a regular, connected, in more directions than one, you could just have every single individual model potential, which would lead for like so many models. So you can see like also with stairs, there's multiple directions, there's 1 top, there's 3 on top. So how is this done? Through block states. So you can see on the F3 screen, we have right here, and these are the block states. So we have facing south, half is bottom, shape is outer left, and waterlogged is false. Through stairs, there's a lot of different models. So let's go and put this into Misode's GitHub, because Misode has literally everything. So, seems like it's based on variants instead of multi-part. Fences and multi-part were basically, depending on the different block state, it adds models to the single one. So you can see true, true, and false, and true. So say east is true, it's going to add one of these 2 lined things onto the model that's already existing. Whereas something like variance is changing it every time. So there's a lot of different models for something like a stair. So for example, you can also have it rotate in certain directions, which is how it limits the amount of models being used. So you can see here, for example, facing east half bottom, shape inner left, and it uses spruce stairs inner with this rotation. So that is block states in a nutshell. There's not really much a way to access this really, unless using something like note blocks, which have an ungodly amount of different block states. Because instrument, you can have a bunch of instruments. Note, you can also have a bunch of notes. So if I do set block right here, note block, so we have instrument, and what do we have here? Yeah, we have a whole bunch of instruments. And now what about note? We have up to 25 different states there. So this is how most people do custom blocks, through abusing the amount of note block states that there are. Alright, so that about sums it up for the stuff that I do know. Stuff that I don't know includes stuff like shaders and atlases. Now, atlases is kind of weird. And for example, if you were to try and make a new texture folder, like textures/custom, I think you may need a new atlas. So I don't know how they work, but I do have a generator that I can go and provide with you that will automatically make them in case you get the error that there's a texture missing. Shaders, you're on your own. There's absolutely nothing, but I will provide as much as I can in the description to try and help you with shaders. Well, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and if you have any questions, feel free to place them in the comments, and I will be able to answer them relatively quickly. So now, adios.